Hello, everybody just joining us. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to get in here before we get started. Tonight, we've got a great show for you. We're going to be continuing to follow the civil unrest in both Portland and Chicago, and we'll be going through all the headlines, and we'll be doing the usual space weather and seismic and all that kind of good stuff. We'll check out all the science and see what's going on out there. In the meantime, we are live right now, and we're going to be on tonight for a while. I don't know how long. I'm thinking maybe an hour, hour and a half. I've had a very long day. I've been up since 3:30 this morning when my alarm went off to get me up to go produce the morning show. And I produced a 3-hour morning show, spent the mid-morning with Mom, came back, produced the afternoon show, and now I'm in this show. This is my 7th hour of live broadcasting today. So we'll see how long this lasts. As far as the weather goes, there's not a whole lot going on. We've got one warning in the entire country, and that's this one right here just north of St. George in Utah, believe it or not. And this is a heightened level of alert here, but not by much. They put these green circles there when there's a possibility of some severe weather. We have a storm chaser here, but his camera's not on. Storm Runner Media. Oh, there it is on. Okay. Well, I'll put them up here. This is Storm Runner Media. So we actually have a storm chaser down there. That's pretty far to the left to have a storm chaser. Normally they're not out that far out west. All right, well, we'll keep that up. Let's see if I have any. I don't really have any other cameras where I've got any other bad weather. I keep hoping that this Radar Omega network will continue to grow. All right, as far as the shots up there, that one in the middle on the top, I'm not sure. That might be yesterday. Although they did have another clash today in Portland. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's live or if that's yesterday. The other ones I'm pretty sure are live. The banana suits are live. And we've got 3 different shots of the banana suits. I don't know what it is about these protests, but it's bringing out all the wackos. I mean, it's literally bringing out all the wackos. Now they're starting to dress up for the protests. If they want to dress up, they'd have a lot more fun at a Comic-Con or something. Anyway, I'm not sure what's going on there. We did lose one of our screens there. Hopefully that will come back. It's still connected. So, nope, he's trying to get something back on there again. Let's see, he'll probably just end up with the same shot I've already got. But there we go. He's got the dancing panda bear. I wonder if that's the sexual harassment panda. Okay, and if you're not a South Park fan, you won't know that reference. All right, anyway. All right, I'm watching the chat room. Hello, everybody. Kind of a slow start tonight. We are watching some strong weather right around Las Vegas and also St. George, Utah. Coming into Cedar City, Utah, we've got some pretty severe weather, some strong weather out there. I don't even want to use the word severe at this point. We do have one weather warning on this one that's starting to blow up here a little bit. Where's the map controls? Let me start that over again. Sometimes, like with most complicated programs, sometimes you just have to reset them. There we go. This is what it looks like on the surface. Here's the Cedar City radar. And you can see that's the storm there that has the warning on it. fairly strong thunderstorm. Cedar City, Utah is just about to get their ass handed to them. It's going to come right over Cedar City. The CCP Panda. Could be. I don't know if that march is last night in Chicago or tonight. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. The TV stations in the two towns are not reporting much of anything. They will report on specific incidents, but they're not giving us much in the way of reports on the actual crowds and what they're doing. That's quite the scuffle there in that middle screen. I'm wondering where and when that was. It's purported to be live, but I don't believe it is. Those are definitely not Chicago PD uniforms. So it may be Portland. And if it, of course, if it's live, it would have to be Portland because it is dark right now in Chicago and it is still light in Portland. Portland right now is overcast at about an hour before sunset. All right. Man, I don't know where everybody's at tonight. Oh, what's going on? Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Like I said, it's going to be a short night, guys. Um, yeah, it could be. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure. As far as Antifa and all that, I don't keep up with all that. Um, all right, so let's see here. Well, let's just go through everything. Tropical storm Jerry is continuing to churn as it does, and it's still forecast to pass east of Bermuda and go right out to sea and not really be that big of a problem for anybody. So we'll have to see if that's what really happens, but that's what the current forecast is calling for. So we'll have to see. Let me see if I can get this screen set up right here. There we go. There's what we're looking at right now. Tropical Storm Jerry. As as of the 5 p.m. advisory, Atlantic Standard Time, advisory number 14 from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is now reporting the maximum sustained winds at about 50 miles an hour, and they are now no longer expecting this to make hurricane status. So that's been a big change since yesterday. This was forecast to become and remain a hurricane for 36 hours. And as you can see, it is now forecast to not make hurricane status. So, and then it's eventually going, the white S here at the end indicates that it's expected that it's going to go extratropical. So this one is not going to be a threat to anybody. Probably some rough surf for Bermuda as it goes by, and that's about it. Respect my authority. All right. Let me turn on this in case I need it. Okay. And so, yeah, so basically, there's nothing really to report on this. This one's going to go on out to sea, and this one is done. There's no chance of anything happening with it. Now, is there anything else out there? Well, that's the $50 million question. Let's go back and take a peek. There's Karen still way up there, post-tropical storm Karen, and here's Jerry down here, forecast to just meander off this way, and that's it. That's it. They've taken all the little yellow circles off the map again. Um, yeah, so there you go. Yeah, Jerry, followed closely by Hurricane Tom. That's funny. Yeah, and there you go. So there's really not much to report here in the tropics. Um, the guidance is relatively sure that that's where that one's going to go. This is what Jerry looks like right now on the infrared. Um, Not really an impressive storm. It never got that eye. It's getting into unfavorable conditions, including cooler sea surface temperatures, and it's probably just not going to be much. I think that's it. And I don't know, guys, but I'm starting to think that's it for hurricane season. We are getting so close here. Let's run the GFS. I don't know. It's like I have mixed emotions right now. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I have mixed emotions because half of me is sad that it's over and we didn't get a hurricane, and most of me saying, thank God we didn't get a hurricane. Oh, all right. So let's run this forward, and it's trying to put. Remember that low? It was trying to run up the East Coast. Well, it's still showing. Is this the current? Let me see. Let me see when this is here. I just want to make sure I've got the latest model. This is the 18 Zulu run for today. That's the latest model. So let's run this forward. It still tries to put that low pressure over Florida. See that? And then 998 off of the Outer Banks. And then finally it just scoots out. And then notice nothing. It's showing a low coming out of the intertropical down there, heading towards the Leeward and Windward Islands. Ooh, 974. 964. That deepens that down to a Category 2 hurricane right there. Maybe a 3 even. But of course it curves it north and takes it out. That's all we can do. The Bermuda High has been completely absent this year. It left and it never came back. I don't know what happened. All right, well, I'll leave that up to y'all's opinion there. All right, but that's pretty much that, guys. I don't have anything else really to report on the tropics. The tropics are becoming more and more quiet, and of course, the reason for that is, our sea surface temperatures are dropping. Take a look at that, 83 off the coast here in Fort Myers, 81 up in Pensacola, and 78. Look how cool the water is up there. So that's why, even though there's going to be low pressure sliding up the East Coast, they're not even putting it on the map right now as a possibility because the temperatures are not there. Once you get into the low 80s, you no longer can get convection, get the enough convection to get a storm going. So pretty much the only place we're still going to see a hurricane would be somewhere where we're 85 plus, down here somewhere. Maybe we could still spin one up. But as far as it looks right now, I'm telling you guys, it looks like hurricane season is over. Now, because I said that, we'll probably get some big ass monster come up. But yeah, I'm relatively sure at this point that hurricane season is in fact over. All right, let's take a look at launches. What do we got for launches today? Gravity 1's launching from China at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. And then you've got, coming up, the next ones you've got Falcon 9 from Kennedy 8:41 p.m. tomorrow. And then you've got Falcon 9 SpaceX, and that's from Cape Canaveral. So that's another Florida launch, 4:11 a.m. Oh, that's a middle of the night launch. Starship, Orbital Pad A, Texas, and that's going to be at 7:15 p.m. on the 13th. So every day we've got a launch going up from either Vandenberg, Texas, or Florida. Almost every single day, if you notice that. And then when you add Japan, it's actually more than one a day. It's amazing, absolutely amazing what we're able to do right now with all of that. Just crazy. All right, let's take a look at our seismic monitor here. Where is all of the activity going on right now? Let's take a look over here. Whoa, look at that. We've got a bunch of earthquakes down here. This is all going to be north of Australia, down in that area. It's going to be in the Philippines. Look at that cluster, guys. That's a hell of a lot of activity right there. Is that Mindanao, Philippines? I wonder if there was any tsunami from that. A 7.4 can create a tsunami. Wow, that's a hell of a cluster, guys, right there. It's Wayne, hurricanes are a lot more fun in one respect. I love tornadoes too, but hurricanes, you get to study them for days and weeks, and you get to go over the maps, and you get to go over all the models, and start running the different models in different ways, and start. I love it. I absolutely love it. And although tornadoes are more dramatic and crazy right in the moment, hurricanes are a long-term science experiment that are just there for us to have and hold, and I love it. Here we go. There's our two here off the Caroline Islands. Is that Micronesia? And then everything else is about normal except this big freaking thing down here. Drake Passage, down south of South America. This is where Antarctica and South America make their closest pass right here. It's called Drake Passage. The weather down there, if you go down there with a ship, the weather is really bad. It's not quite as bad as the Horn of Mexico, but it's pretty bad. And this particular spot right here is the bad weather here, and the long distance here is the reason we have the Panama Canal. Because now ships, instead of, if you're here and you need to go to here, you used to have to go all the way down and come back up. And of course now we have the Panama Canal down here, and you can traverse the continent, allowing you to go from the Caribbean over to the Pacific. And so thank God for that. Coral Islands 5.6. That's up on that peninsula again. Look at that. Look at all the clusters up there. This has been an active area for months. You guys remember that's where the tsunami that we followed that night, all night, was at. That's a lot of activity over there, guys. That's a freakish amount of activity there. I wouldn't say there's anything like globally wrong or anything, because this is fairly common to get big clusters of these things. I don't think there was an 8.9. The outer ring here is a 7.4. So that's the biggest one there, is a 7.4. Yeah, see this one's a 7.4. So that's the biggest one there, and that's the biggest one on the map. So yeah, that was it, 7.4. Nothing in the 8s today. I figure we'll run this real quick while we got it. This is a great new tool that's provided by Google now. And it's a really neat tool. And it's free. And because I'm a nice guy, there's the link. You can pull it up yourself, put it on your button bar. It's a great tool. You want to go over here and turn on the models on the left side. You can't see it on your screen, but over on the left side here, you want to turn on the models. There, I'll move it over so you can see. You want to turn on your models right there on the side, because it'll only have this one model turned on. So you want to click your other models on, and then it will show everything all at once. But this is a great tool. Oh, you want the seismic monitor? Okay, I'll give you that. I call it seismic monitor, and I don't know why. Yeah, no problem. There's the seismic monitor for you guys. And here's the rocket launch stuff that I use. There you go. I love you guys having all the links. I'm not one of these people that I like to let you see behind the curtain, so it's all good. All right, let's see here. What else do we got going on? All right, so it basically here, there's nothing going on in the tropics. That's the bottom line. There's just nothing going on in the tropics. And there's nothing really going on with weather in the United States either. Yeah, I think that top middle one is in a loop. I'm just going to leave it so you can see what's happened. And while it's playing, I'm going to go back here in just a minute. Actually, I'll go back right now. I'm going to go ahead and flip this left screen off. And I'm going to go start looking for more videos. So just bear with me as I'm moments of silence here. Thank you to you guys that have joined us tonight. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. I don't even have all. Hey, Wayne Frazier. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You have no idea. I really appreciate that, Wayne. Thank you. I don't ask for supers, but they sure do help, guys. All right, so all right, so let's do a reset here anyway. Hello, everybody. My name is Ian. This is Starship Adventures, and we are live tonight at Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. And we are coming to you over YouTube, which is the largest broadcast platform in the world. And I got to tell you guys, we do get out there. Our numbers are starting to come up again. I think we figured out the algorithm problem. And I just want to say I'm really happy for everybody that's been coming in every night. I'm glad you like the news product, and I'm hoping it gets out to more people. All right, so if you guys, we do have a Discord. I'll put that in for you guys here in just a second. I also got my button bar working again. So we now have sound effects. That's awesome. Got to have those. I felt kind of missing without those. It's kind of weird. But now I have them. Well, I appreciate it, Wayne, but it's not necessary. The good news here is with YouTube, if I can get enough people on here, then we can just do this with ad revenue, and I don't have to do memberships and all. I really want to just concentrate on the product and not get too much into all that other stuff. But anyway, there you go. All right, so I've got the problem I'm having right now is I'm out of screens. I've got all my stats and everything. I don't. Can you guys let me flip it back over so you can see the studio up above me here. This screen above me is all of the stats, and it shows I've got two different sets of stats plus the chat room up there. Everything, all that's up there on the top screen. This screen on the right. This screen here is the screen I use to do all of the things like Radar Omega and Flight Tracker and also ChatGPT research. I read off of this screen when I'm telling you guys about news. That's all on this screen. This screen is the studio. It's actually the OBS studio. in studio mode. You can see the two screens, and everything is set up there for the broadcast. And then over here on this screen, this is my reference screen. Over here, that's where I look stuff up, and then when I'm ready, I turn this screen on so you guys can see it. But here's my problem. My other two screens are back over here and they're not in good positions. What I'm probably going to do is mount, I've got another bracket and I'm going to move one of these screens. I'm going to put this one screen right here. I need my button bars up here where I can see them closer. So I'm going to move that screen over to here and put it right up here. So that's the next thing I have to do, because it's too far, it's too much to go way over here. The more you know. So anyway, it's a lot easier to do it if it's more in front of me. I have another screen here, but I've got my security cameras on it. I really don't want to lose that one. You know, it is what it is. But that's what I got to work on here. And then that final screen over there, that's kind of just a spare one. It's so far over I can't see it, but you guys can see it. So I put different stuff up there from time to time. A lot of times what you'll see up there is I put the auroral map up there, and you guys can that way you can see that back there. All right, so anyway, that's basically how my studio setup is. And then over there, I've got in that corner, you can see in the top right screen, I'm pointing over there. That's the Linux machine. And then I've got the black computer, the blue computer, the green computer, and then over here, I've got the purple computer, the gold computer, and the pink computer. They're all set up. Every one of them set up as a color code. Well, I do appreciate it, Wayne. I'll tell you. I'm missing the wedding in Portland. I didn't know there was a wedding in Portland. I don't know that I care if there's a wedding in Portland. I'm looking for more views right now, as a matter of fact. So let me see if anybody else has gone live. Hook Global, CNN News 16. It's the same ones. Times Now, Mint, ET Now, Hook Global, Mirror Now, Mirror Now, Mirror Now, Times New Roman, Times New Roman. That's a font. Times New World, the Daily Guardian, the Daily Guardian. These are all spoofs. What's this one? Well, this one's actually coming out of a legitimate news station, but it looks to not be current, but I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there because it's a duplicate anyway. We'll see what this turns out to be. It could be. I mean, the sky looks the same and everything. Definitely Portland. The Daily Guardian, Times Now, Times of India, Big TV Live, ET World, incredible. Money Control, that's another one. CNN News 18, which is not CNN. Islamabad, I guess it's going on over there too. They got a big one going on in Islamabad. I don't generally cover live stuff from Islamabad, but who knows. News 9 Live. What is this one? That's overseas somewhere. Okay, that's the one we've got there in the upper center, which is looping. Hindu Times, HDTV, Let's see what I've already got here. It's funny because I don't see local TV stations covering these protests. It's weird. I see a very different tone. Um, it's weird to me, you know, in riots past and in protests past, you would see every kind of news media in the world. In fact, in one of those last ones about a year or two ago that we had, um, they shot an Australian reporter in the back of the head with a rubber bullet. Um, and you actually could see the guy do it, and you could tell it was on purpose. Um, yeah, I saw Portland Andy was on, but he wasn't showing any video. Um, is that Chris Farley in drag? It could be, but I'm not sure. I don't think it is, though, because I think he's dead. Man, I love Chris Farley. Wasn't he one of the funniest dudes ever? My God. He was great on Saturday Night Live. Back when I could watch Saturday Night Live. There's one on here called CNN News 18. They've got about 20 spoof videos running live. One of them is called Live, L-I-V-E, Live, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's, this statement cost him his life. Charlie Kirk's last debate live. And then after that, Trump. Now, using the word Charlie Kirk and live in the same sentence is probably a dead giveaway there. No pun intended. But what are they doing? But you know what pisses me off the worst? This same video, this same looped 23-minute video of the last moments of his life has been looped over and over and over, and it's been playing ever since the day after his death on one of these CNN News 18 channels right now. They've got 68 viewers on there. Last night they had over 100. What is YouTube doing? I mean, they're literally sending all their viewers to these spoof channels. And channels like mine, I have half the viewers this thing has right now. And I'm doing a live internet show with live video and real-time information. I don't get it. No, SNL used to be so good, dude. It got really, the first 10 years were really good, you know, with Belushi and Aykroyd and all the greats. And then there was another time about 10 years after it got kind of bad for a while. Then it actually got really good again when they had Dana Carvey, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman. They had all that crew in there. Chevy Chase was still coming around. But during that year, actually he hosted a bunch during that 10 years. During that 10 years, I think it was their third 10 years, that was a really good time period in Saturday Night Live. And then after that, it's gone completely to shit. Oh, and back then, Dennis Miller did the news. It has gotten terrible. It's nothing but just a political mouthpiece now. I hate to think people are getting spoofed constantly. All right. Yeah, I don't know. When YouTube does stuff like this, it bugs me. It's like you should figure out a way to favor the shows that people are putting the effort into. But these guys have been doing this for years, and they keep the numbers up. I still have a hard time believing that people actually tune in to watch other people play video games, but that apparently happens too. All right, I've already got that image. Do I have this one? Yes, I think so. And there's people up tonight that show pictures of burning, big, huge burning buildings, and their thumbnail says "Riot in Chicago." I That's just clickbait. I mean, there's no riot in Chicago. It's unrest. When they start burning people's buildings down, then that's a riot. But right now it's civil unrest, okay? And it really bugs me when people it's just like they're lying about it. Um, all right, so let me keep looking here. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I've got another composite with several good lives in it. I think I'm gonna switch out that top center one because I think that top center one's yesterday. I'm pretty sure, and I also am pretty sure it's looping. So either way, let's just go ahead and try to replace it with something that I think is live. And by the way, I still have to produce weekend shows after I'm done here. And I can't go to bed until those are done. There we go. All right, so that's that. I do believe that's all live now in Portland. The only one I'm not sure about is that middle one right above me here. This one right here. I think that one that might be that chopper footage from last night, but I'm not sure. That could be in Chicago right now. They were marching earlier. Some pretty shitty weather moving through Vegas. See, I think that white truck was in front of that crowd last night, so that's why I'm really thinking the one above me right here is old. Jesus. It's all just these same spoof channels over and over again. So, this is supposed to be a serious protest about um, a serious protest about a serious issue that we're having in this country, and yet all of the blow up doll characters showed up tonight. Standard, I love shitty weather. I chase shitty weather. In the future, I plan to do more chasing of shitty weather. I love shitty weather. I love blizzards. I love tornadoes and hurricanes. I love any shitty weather I can get. And I'm not being a smartass. I'm being absolutely dead serious. I love shitty weather. When a bad thunderstorm comes, a lot of times, if I'm here at the house, or especially like if I'm at work and I've got like 30 minutes, if I see a bad thunderstorm coming, I go out and sit in my car. I love witnessing storms in my car. And even at the house here, if it's a real bad storm coming in, I'll go out and sit. I'll move my car around the yard and I'll aim into it so I can get a good view of it, and I'll watch it come in. I just love it. I love storms. I love the science of them. I love the power. I just absolutely love it. I think I see a South Park character in there. I think I see Kenny, and I think I see Cartman.
Hey, you guys, let's protest.
Yeah, that is Cartman.
Hey, you fucking guys. I hate you guys.
That looks like Cartman and Kenny. And then, of course, that's Sexual Harassment Panda. And then, maybe Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Not sure. Some unicorn. I don't know. What's this freaking guy talking about?
Questions. I'm afraid they're not doing as much as they should. Senator Duckworth and I are honored to be here today, and I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you, Dick. I couldn't agree with the ruling more in that it's been clear, not just here in Chicago, but also in the ruling in Portland, that the Trump administration's claims that local law enforcement is not capable of maintaining peace during the civil disobedience, with people out expressing themselves. That's not true. Our state police, our local law enforcement, our county sheriffs, our village police are doing their jobs, and we should let them do their jobs. The Trump administration has diverted over $800 million that Congress appropriated in a bipartisan way in order to fund violence prevention efforts, child protective services, also for training for police officers. They've actually diverted those funds away from law enforcement. If they cared about crime, they would put that money back where it belongs, with our law enforcement officers, so that they can do their jobs. But it is not appropriate to militarize our cities. It is not appropriate to activate National Guard troops and send them into our cities. Our National Guard men and women are doing a fantastic job. But you know what? They sign up to be tank drivers. They should be practicing driving tanks. They should be practicing to defend America against our enemies around the world. And that's what they would rather be doing. So what I've been saying to protesters, to people of Chicago, be kind to the guardsmen and women. They're here against their will. They're here because they were activated to come here. Maintain your protest. Say what you need to say. Do it peacefully. But I condemn what is happening with ICE, the work that they're doing, snatching people off the streets, shooting priests in the head, which guilty simply of a crime of praying, throwing smoke grenades.
Priest got hit in the back of the head by a rubber bullet. It was not appeared to be intentional, but you can hear how they spin it.
And see what the conditions are, and they will not let us in. It is shameful. You don't run and hide if you're proud of what you're doing. That's what ICE is doing right now.
Right here. Alex Gabriel, News Nation. What does it signal to you, the fact, News Nation, sir? What does it signal to you, the fact that the immigration officers and agents behind those closed doors aren't letting you in to see what's happening there?
This is the fourth time we've asked in the last several weeks. We started at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station. All along the way, we just want to be briefed on what they're doing, what their resources are, and what's happening in the streets. They've refused to tell us this information. I've done this job for a few years now. I've never had this kind of stonewalling by any presidential administration. Something's going on in there that they don't want us to see. I don't know what it is.
Wow, these leftists are something else. They're standing in a city where tonight 2 or 3 people will die. And they're fighting against the help being sent to help them. It's amazing to me. I'm beside myself sometimes about how ignorant this has become. It doesn't matter whether they need the help or not. It's being sent by Trump. They've got Trump derangement syndrome. We're not accepting it. We don't want it. We don't want it. I'm telling you, if Trump cured cancer, these Trump derangement people on the left would not take the cure. That's the kind of people they are. They've made up their mind that this man is the Antichrist. I don't know how he can be the Antichrist or the devil when none of these people that are calling him the names are actually Christians, but whatever, we'll leave that alone. Hey, Red. Hey, Canna Club. Yep, demons. Definitely demons. Yep. All right, so yeah, she's going on and on, bloviating about how this is all Trump's fault. Everything's Trump's fault. If the moon broke orbit and crashed into the earth today, it would be Trump's fault. No matter how many good things the man does, how many peace treaties he brokers, he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize today. He's negotiated more peace than 3 or 4 other presidents combined. He has sowed a lot more peace than Barack Obama ever did, but he was given the Nobel Peace Prize just for winning the election. Remember, he didn't even do anything yet. And then he ended up not brokering peace anywhere. Where Trump, everywhere he goes, we get peace. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Hey, Jingle. Yeah, so what I'd really like to see is I would like to see people on the left just chill out. You know what? They would tell us, just chill out. We got this. Well, it's time. We're in charge now. Just chill out. We got this. This whole thing is just nuts. You got a guy in there right now. This is the first time the country's ever been run by a real estate mogul. And I'll tell you what, I like the way he's running it a lot better than I've liked any of these other people's way of running it. He's breaking shit, and he's fixing it back. He's cutting shit. He's about to lay off a bunch more workers. That's great. We need to get rid of about half of these federal workers, maybe 2/3 of them. We need to get rid of all of them. From the IRS to the PBS, we got to get rid of all of them. We need to get rid of everything we can. We need to lay off half the people in Bethesda, Maryland. We gotta literally cut the fat when it comes to the federal government. The federal government has become so extremely bloated that the only way to fix it at this point is to cut it and let it bleed out, and then put it back with the minimum necessary to get the job done. They're finding out the Department of Education it actually employs like over 10,000 people. It's ridiculous. And all they do is make up rules and give out money and assume control. And I'm hoping he follows through. That entire Department of Education needs to completely go away. Cut all of it. Cut it to the bone. Cut everything. We don't need 90% of our federal government. We don't need it. What they're supposed to do is provide for the common defense, and that's it. They're not supposed to be doing every single thing in the world. I actually believe there's a lot of fat that can be cut in these alphabet agencies, but they're not going to do that. When you look at how many people work for the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, the U.S. Marshal's Office, when you start going through all of these federal organizations, law enforcement organizations, and there's a bunch of them. You got Homeland Security, you got there's just a bunch of them. And every one of them has tens of thousands of employees. And I'm sorry, but I'm one of these I'm very skeptical that we're getting any return on all that money that we're spending. I just don't see it. You know, people call the FBI and say, hey, this guy's going to shoot up a school, and they don't do anything about it, and then the kid goes and shoots up a school. The FBI gets a call, hey, this kid's crazy, he's doing guns, he's wanting to kill somebody. They never do anything, and then that guy goes and shoots Donald Trump's ear. You know, I got to tell you guys, I'm really, I don't think that what bang for the buck are we getting, seriously, out of all this? You're right, deploribus, and that's a huge distinction right there. The left don't care if the country fails as long as Donald Trump fails. And they don't realize that if Donald Trump succeeds, this is going to be such a much better place to live than it is right now. But they're not willing to give it a chance because they have Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome completely blinds you to what's going on in the world. Like I said, Donald Trump could come out with the cure of cancer and they wouldn't take it. That's Trump derangement syndrome. If you put something in front of them and it has Trump's logo on it and they don't want it because it's got Trump's logo on it, that's Trump derangement syndrome. Only a fool would turn away something that's going to help. Only a fool wouldn't give something a shot. But that's what we're doing. The Democrats, with their 39% approval rating, the lowest it's ever been given since Quinnipiac started doing that polling, they've got us in a government shutdown. And the blame is being squarely placed on the left, which is where it belongs. The right has provided a clean CR. Every time in the past when the Republicans have shut down the government because the spending is out of control, the left always just says, hey, here's a clean CR, sign it or don't. Well, now we're doing that. Here's a clean CR. Here it is. The Republicans didn't put one single dollar of additional spending in there. They didn't change spending levels in there. It's a clean CR, a continuing resolution. It means that it's clean, meaning that there's no bullshit in it. There's no pork in it. There's no special this or that in it. There's no increases in it. Well, guess what? The Democrats aren't happy with that. Because what is it they want more than anything else? More money. Because what is the Democrats' number one goal in the world? To increase the size and scope of government. Remember, they're socialists, they're communists. So that's what they want. And this whole thing, now that Donald Trump is the government, it screws them all up inside. The bottom line here with this whole thing is they're going to have, we are going to have to, Donald Trump is going to have to be allowed to finish what he's doing, and let's see where we're at. If it's bad, we'll say it's bad. If it's good, we'll say it's good. But constantly fighting to destroy the country just because you don't want Donald Trump to succeed is diabolical. And it's anti-American. It's communist. Yes. Yeah, deplorably. I don't know. I'm not specific on that, but I will tell you that the Department of Education, what they do, the Federal Department of Education, they've never taught a single child. It's not what they do. What they do, you would think, is to fund programs around the country, fund school districts, provide extra money for things like fitness programs and school lunches, and provide money for books and things like that, provide resources to schools. No, that's not really what the Department of Education does. What they do is they use their money to basically hold you hostage so that you'll do things at your school district the way they tell you to. See, this is the way the federal government gets back on states' rights. Remember the Civil War was fought over states' rights. And the states wanted to decide for themselves on all of these 16 items, including slavery and other things. And the federal government's like, no, there's some things that the federal government just has to be able to say no to. And that's basically, in a very basic term, that's what the Civil War was fought over. And what we've got now today, again, this is another basically Civil War, but this time it's being fought with U-Hauls, but that's for another day. I talked about that the other day. But the Civil War was fought over states' rights. That's what's the most important thing here, is the right of each state to educate their children the way they want to educate them. That's the bottom line. Okay? If Florida wants to educate their kids one way, that's Florida. That's states' rights. Okay? What the Federal Department of Education did was it was put in place mostly by leftists, by liberals. It was put in place and beefed up over the years to provide the federal government with control, especially over conservative school districts in conservative counties, in conservative states. And what they would do is they would come out with a policy. Hey, Cook County School District, here's a grant for DEI. Now, this money's yours. It's $1.5 million. Okay, this money's yours. You have to sign a contract agreeing to all of the stipulations for that money. And those stipulations may be crazy things like tampon machines in boys' bathrooms would be in that bill. If you want that money, you got to put tampon machines in boys' bathrooms. And in a lot of cases, the money will actually pay for that. That's one of the things it'll pay for. But you have to do it. You have to maintain tampon machines in the boys' bathroom, just like Tampon Tim does up in his state. And this is that leverage, that state Department of Education. They don't ever teach anybody. What they do is provide power to the federal government to say, hey, we want your school to teach this specific class. And the school district says, we don't want to teach that class here. We don't want to teach that class here. It's irrelevant here. And they say, okay, here's $1 million to build that new school. Here's $1 million for that new high school you're building. But you have to agree to that. That's the lever. It's just that simple. Every dollar that comes from the federal government is extortion. Every dollar that comes out of the federal government is extortion. Remember that. If they give your company money, it's because they need your company to comply with something. If they give a school district money, they want that school district to comply with something. It's a bribe, basically. And so all the Department of Education became was this left arm that reaches out and forces all of the schools in these conservative counties and these conservative states like mine. It forces us to do things we don't want to do in order to get the funding. Now, one of the things we've done here, we've used our lottery, and there's some controversy there, but I'm not going to get into that. We've used our lottery and we've used other funding sources, and we are allowing our children to go to their school choices now. We're fixing a lot of these problems here by putting less kids in public schools and more kids in private schools. That's the answer. I eventually hope that we can completely privatize the school system. And that way, the federal and even the state government will have what control is necessary, and that's it. The federal government should have no control at all over the states and how they educate their children, period. Now, the state should have control. The state should maintain a level, of quality when it comes to this education. That's the state's job. Florida, in my case, has these laws in place where we provide a certain level of education. Now what we need to do is get the federal government's fingers out of all of it, take the money that the Department of Education was going to give to all of these places when they followed their extortion, and just break it up and give it to them. That's what needs to happen. We need to take all those hundreds of billions of dollars that the Department of Education has and equally split them across the country by student number, by number of students. Every school gets a bite, public or private. Every school gets a bite according to how many students you're teaching each year. And I want to eventually get away from public schools. Public schools have failed us. The education they get is not of good quality in many places, but even worse than that, they're being indoctrinated in these schools. They're being taught in these schools things that we as conservative parents probably don't want them taught. And this is where the biggest problem is if you're going to deal with anything, it's the root of the problem, right? You want to kill a weed, you kill the root. You want to put out a structure fire, you crawl past the burning smoke and you put out the couch. I used to teach the guys that. You crawl past the smoke and you put out the couch. Guys would go into the building and start spraying over their head. That doesn't put the fire out. You got to go find what's burning. Go find the couch that's burning. When you find that couch that's fully involved, you hit that with your straight stream. And then it steams the room and it puts out the whole fire. You have to do it properly. If we took all that money that they're giving to schools that comply with all their rules and all that, if we could just apply that money equally and give it to all of these state and county, to all the county school districts across the country, based on how many students each has, public or private, we would be in so much better shape today. And this school choice we have down here, every year now we have less people signing up for public school. Every year. And see, our public schools here, they're so damn corrupt, messed up. We finally got conservatives on the board down here, but it's a huge mess. They start building a school for $16 million, right? At $30 million, they come back and say, hey guys, we've got a problem. They have gone double budget on this high school out in East Lehigh. Double budget. How do they get away with that shit? Could you go to work tomorrow and tell your boss, yeah, I'll do it for $100, and then come back and say, well, I did it, but it's $200. Try that at work and see how it goes. Why does the government get away with it? Look at the money they're spending on these schools. They blow money on these schools for all kinds of shit they don't need. And then the stuff they do need, like vocational technical education stuff, it's there, but it's not enough. Computer training and labs and things like that. That's where the money should be spent. But instead, you know what it's all being spent on? Sports fields. These high schools now have 12 fields. Primary football, secondary football, band practice, soccer, baseball, baseball. Bullshit. I don't like sports. I'm not much of a sports person. But I look at the money that's wasted on all this sports bullshit for these schools. It's crazy. Sometimes, Red, I think you're right. Sometimes I think some people out there want a lost generation so they can break it and fix it. It's a break and fix thing. If we make the plane crash into the ground, then we can build a new plane. And that's kind of how they're thinking. Yes, they do. They've built some beautiful football stadiums down here. For what? I mean, it's football. I think we should spend more money on academics than we do on sports. But we don't. We will spend more money on football, baseball, basketball, soccer fields, track and field, and 5 other things that we don't need. But you know what they don't have? They don't have a driver's ed range. Okay? They don't have a mechanic shop. They've got very limited computer labs. When you start looking at it, it's like we're spending all this effing money on sports and on landscaping and on all this stupid shit that we don't need. And pools, baby Olympic sized pools at every school. All this money that we spend on all these sports programs, and yet we're not spending anything hardly on these on academic programs and future programs like vocational technical learning. Our schools need to be focused on vocational technical learning, our high schools, and they're not. Therefore, they want everybody to play football, play soccer, and play. None of those assholes are ever going to make a living playing soccer. You know, at my high school, which has been around for 45 years now, okay? 50 years my high school's been around, okay? We produced 1 pro basketball player in 50 years. Look how many billions of dollars we've spent on everything, on the lights burning up there 5 nights a week. The fields, all the special mowing, the grass, new grass every 3 years. They got all this money we spend on sports, and for what? They're not going to make a living playing sports. It's the same thing with these liberal arts colleges. You got 500 kids learning how to be artists. You're not going to make a living being an artist. Learn how to be a nurse. Learn how to fix an engine. Learn something that's going to help you in life. I'll never understand these people that go spend all of daddy's money at college and they learn nothing. They learn absolutely squat. And the same thing with our high schools. 4 years of high school, what did they learn? They can swim, they can play football, they lift weights, they run the track, they play a little baseball on the weekends. None of that's going to help them when they need to get a job. That's what school's supposed to be, is getting you ready for a career and a job. I can't believe people don't see this. We spend more on extracurricular horse shit than we spend on actually teaching them things like vocational technical learning. Why? Well, but yes, Hans, you're right. But we need those part changers. Okay? We need them. And they need to be skilled. There's still a skill to that. In today's world, yes, they're just a part changer. but they also have to diagnose which part, and they also have to do it without effing it up. And so it still takes a skill. I think that every high school in this county should have a 10-base shop in the back. And I think every child should spend at least a semester in there learning how to change tires, learning how to, learning what spark plug wires are. For Christ's sake, learning how to change a car battery. I mean, I hear people like, oh, I had to change my starter. I had to go get somebody to do it. Okay, not all of us can change a starter. The last one I did in that Caravan I own, I had to take 3 engine mounts off and jack the motor up to get it off. It's a bitch, but I did it, and I'm not a mechanic. I watched a YouTube video. That's what I worry about. Are these kids going to be able to do anything when they grow up? No, because we're spending all the money to teach them. All this money that we get to teach these kids is all being dumped into sports programs. It's all being dumped into sports programs. And you want to know something? The leaders of the next generation are not playing football. They're in the computer lab. Okay? Your movers, your shakers, your really smart people, your scientists, your next Bill Gates. He's not out on that football field. He's in that computer lab. We have got to change some priorities around here. We should be nurturing the innovators. We should identify kids in middle school that are innovators. We should be able to figure out which students in middle school are innovators. Which ones think outside the box. And get them out of that cesspool and get them into a special school. We got to get these kids. I mean, if they would have taken me when I was in middle school and said, look, okay, he doesn't really fit in exactly. This learning style's not exactly working with him. It is, but it's not. He's not all that social. We're having issues with that. Maybe, and this is me. I wasn't the perfect student. It sucked for me. I hated school. I hated school. I hated the teachers. I hated the administrators. I fought the system in school. I never got a reprimand, never got written up once in school. But I fought the system. I fought the system and fought the system. I was one of those. And I absolutely hated school because they didn't teach me anything I needed to know. I learned how to play a trumpet. Did that make me any money? Did that make me any money? I spent probably, 1,200 hours in school learning how to play the trumpet. Did that help me with a career? I learned how to do art and pictures. I learned how to paint by the numbers. I learned how to do string art. That was kind of fun. Did any of that earn me a job anywhere? Did any of that help me get a job anywhere? No. Music class and all these other classes, a piano class, keyboard, all these different things that I took when I was in high school. None of it helped me get a job. None of it. And none of the sports would have helped me get a job either. And then when they made me dress out and go play sports, what's that? You're forcing me to play sports? I would just go stand out there. I would just go stand out there. I used to hate the system. I used to hate the teachers. And not because they weren't, they were following their rules. They weren't bad people. In fact, I actually liked some of my teachers. They were very nice people. But the truth was, no one in that school was teaching me what I needed to know. In world history, what did I learn? I didn't learn why World War II was fought. I didn't learn about the rise of fascism. I didn't learn about communism versus fascism. I was never even given the definition of the word fascism when I was in school. That's why everybody puts it out today. You're Hitler, you're fascist. They don't even know what it means. They're dumb. Because it was never taught. They'd spend 3 weeks teaching us about the World War II, and never tell us why the goddamn war was fought in the first place. Truth is, the only important lesson from the war was that. What did we learn from it? Why was it fought? And what was the resolution? That's all we needed to be taught. But you know what I learned? I learned that in 1938 that General Brisbane went up this hill with 17 tanks, and he held off this and that, and he did this, and then these people did that, and then you got to memorize all the dates of all the battles, and you got to memorize all the towns that all the battles came in, and then you got to memorize all this other stuff. It's stupid. They literally had me memorize the war, but never taught me the lessons that were learned in the war. It's ignorant. Science was a little better. Still wasn't, it wasn't taught right. It wasn't taught cause and effect. It wasn't taught hypothesis conclusion. You know what it was? It was memorization. They would show a laid out frog, and we'd have to name the parts. What good did that do me? Nothing. But they never really taught us about the really cool things, you know? They just glazed over the whole earth sciences. I never thought they spent enough time on earth sciences. They spent way too much time on biology. And then you get the math. Oh God, don't get me started. Okay, I'm started. Math? Math is probably one of the most ignorant things in the world. Math is something that, number one, can be done by every smart device that we own. Okay? Number two, math is something that 2/3 of us will never need to know beyond the basics. But yet they teach everybody all the way up to algebra. Do you know how many times at work I've used algebra? I was an engineer of fire trucks. I produce radio. I've done some crazy things in my life. I was a cop. I've done all kinds of stuff in my life. I've never once needed algebra. Not once. Why would I even freaking need algebra? Why are they wasting kids' time with algebra? We need to identify what children are going to go on to be mathematicians and teach them algebra and leave the freaking rest of us alone. I don't need to know long division because I type it in the phone and it comes up. The bottom line here, again, is it's not how you got the integer that's important. It's the fact that you got a correct integer. That's the important part, right? Is that not what's important? You got to show your work on the paper. No, you don't. We don't need to show work anymore. We don't need to do the work. We don't even need to understand the work anymore. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, and I'm fine with that. I'll admit I may not be totally right, but this is how I feel. Math is a waste. It's a complete waste of time. Now, if you go into become a pharmacist, you'll be taught pharmaceutical math. It's simple. If you're going to go be a mechanic, you're going to learn how the metric wrenches work. But you don't need to spend these kids are doing 1 year of math, all 12. They're doing 12 or 11 or 12 years of math, 1 hour a day. And at the end of it, they have nothing to show for it. My teacher used to hand out a sheet every night that it was full of math problems. It was full of math. It was busy work. Now, I don't know if I ever told you guys this. I am vehemently opposed to homework. That child is in school for 6.5 to 7 hours a day, depending on the school district. You add 1 hour of bus transportation to that, It's a full-time job. It's 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day. And I I look at school for these students as basically like it's like a full-time job. They're there for 7 or 8 hours a day, and they need to get the most out of it. They need to get the best out of it. And when you think about it, they're just not. I would go to school and spend the entire day there, and at the end of the day, I don't think I learned a frickin' thing. That guy would give us those papers. I didn't finish telling you this. He would give us those papers every night. And every day I would take that paper and stick it in my locker. It never went home with me. None of my books ever went home with me. I do not believe in homework. You're there 8 hours. It's a full-time job. Many high school kids have part-time jobs, plus a family life and everything else that's going on, plus sports, because God knows that's fucking important, right? And I would never give a child homework. What kind of immoral horse shit is homework? I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to believe me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I never, ever did homework, with the exception of science fair projects. I always did my science fair projects. I was nutty about them. In fact, I entered 2 science fair projects one year and got first and third place. I was nuts about science projects. I'd work on them for months because I wanted to. The rest of that shit I didn't want to do. But other than science projects, I never did a single sheet of math. My teacher would hand those papers. Take one and pass it back. Take one and pass it back. Every day I would take that sheet and it would have, he copies them out of a book. What kind of money were they wasting to photocopy math problems out of a book? 26 times 12, 27 times 14. And it's just math problems. And every night I was supposed to go home and waste my time doing those problems for nothing, to learn math that I would never need, to do busy work that would never be checked or graded. Every day, when we would show back up for that math class, I still remember exactly which classroom it was in. When I'd show up for that math class, I'd walk in, I'd sit down, I was the second desk from the back. The girl behind me would hand me her homework, and I would hand it to the kid in front of me. I never turned in homework the entire year I was in that man's class. And we got down towards the end of the year, and he kept me after class one day, and he says, I was not really paying attention, but I don't think you've been turning in homework. And I looked him right in the eye and I said, I haven't turned in any of it. I don't believe in it. And I'm not going to do it. And he says, well, it's going to affect your grade. I said, as long as I don't get an F, I don't care. And he says, okay. And I ended up getting a C in his class. I did all the work in the thing. Anytime we did something in the classroom, I did it. I took all the quizzes. I passed all the quizzes. But I never did any of that homework. I never did any of my homework in any of my classes. I never studied for tests. I either knew it or I didn't. I liked to listen to the instructor when he was talking about something interesting, and then I would hope I would retain enough. I did take some notes. I was kind of a note taker for a while in high school, where I would take stressed notes, where I would be able to go back but I still rarely ever went back and read them. But the act of writing them down helped me remember. I made it through school all right. My grade point average in high school wasn't that bad, considering I was fighting the system the whole time and really not giving a shit about my grades. But I really thought that public school was a joke. The entire time I went to school, I thought it was a joke. And it was. Looking back on it now that I'm, 56 years old, I look back on it now, it was a joke. It was an absolute joke. And it wasn't good for anything. Hey, Tony. Uh, Red, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not, because you're right. But I'm not doing it. You know, I don't believe in assigning somebody busy work just so that they'll get good habits in life or whatever. I don't know. That's kind of. It's raining in Arizona. Yep, there you go. Well, there I'm showing it now. That's Las Vegas. Let me go ahead and show you guys the slightly larger complex of storms is up here by between St. George and running up past Cedar City, all the way up to Beaver. I've heard about that Beaver. Anyway, yeah, I think, and I like to look at things realistically. Okay, just like looking at things like writing traffic tickets. When you do the math, no matter how many tickets you write, you don't affect the number of people that die on the road. It's a misnomer. The cops tell you that because they need more money every year. Well, it's the same thing with education. They tell you, oh, we need this. We need more money. We need more education. We got to teach more math problems. We got to make them memorize times tables. Oh, my God. Really? Memorizing times tables? Jesus. And cursive writing, for God's sake? They're still making kids do cursive writing. You talk about a waste of time. Nobody uses it anymore. And I don't buy the thing, oh, Constitution's written in script, and if we don't teach them how to write it, they won't be able to read their own Constitution. Come on. I've got it in typed form. If you want it, I'll send it to you. I can't think of any reason why we should ever teach children cursive writing anymore. It's a complete waste of time, because everything's typed. I don't even think writing skills should be that important anymore. We need to stop hanging on to the past, especially when it comes to education. We need to look to what's the future. Is the future memorizing all the dates to all the wars in the Vietnam conflict? No. The lesson is, how do you find and cross-reference and provide the data? Not memorizing the data. Finding it, cross-referencing, presenting the data. That's the important part. And that's what we keep missing here. Okay? They're like, ChatGPT is going to run schools. No! ChatGPT is going to revolutionize education. Children no longer need to sit around and learn times tables anymore or memorize the dates of conflicts and wars. Technology is not going to ruin our children. Technology is going to free our children so they can learn the new things and they can be ready for the new challenges in this new future that we're coming to. But they've got to memorize that 6 times 6 is 36. No, they don't. I could sum up World War II in one page. What, why, when, where, and how did it resolve itself, and what did we learn? You could cover the whole thing in a few pages. And you would teach them something that would be valuable. When my mother was in school, they had a class called Americanism versus Communism. We talked about this just the other day. She said, they were very direct in that. They taught us that, communists were this other kind of people, and they were not good. And you learned all about communism and all about capitalism and all about all the different isms out there. Racism, fascism. You learned about all the different isms. And that morphed, by the time I went to the same school, that had morphed 25 years later into American government. We had a book called American Government. Now, it was only a 6-month course. It was a half-year course. It was 11th grade, and you took American Government. And that course I actually liked. I felt like I got something out of it. That's where they actually taught us about the judicial district and the executive branch and the House and the Congress. And they taught us about all the checks and balances in the federal government and states' rights and federal rights and local rights. I mean, that class was decent. That should be taught. American Government. It's not taught anymore. I don't even think they're teaching what the isms even mean anymore. Memorization of the periodic table. Thank you. Yes. Ignorant. Ignorant. If you're working on the periodic table, you'll probably have it right in front of you on a poster, or maybe on your computer screen. It's absolutely ridiculous. We do not need to memorize anything except the process to find the information. That's all that ever needs to be memorized. Is we need to memorize what the process is to find the proper information. That's it. We should be teaching children how to prompt AI. We should be teaching children how to think outside the box. We should be teaching innovators and engineers and people who build things with their hands. But we don't do any of that. We teach them how to play football and what year World War II was started. And see, that's where if something is relevant to your job, you will get that training. I don't think that, colleges have failed us. And I'm going to tell you where colleges have failed us. Colleges have all these core classes, and they have the same problem high schools have. To get an associate's degree, I had to take a math, and I had to take a college college reading and writing. I had to take all these stupid core classes. It was stupid. And a lot of the classes I took had nothing to do with the job I was going to take. And I could have wrote much better classes. I mean, all that time I spent at college to learn how to be a medic and a firefighter and all this stuff over here was all a waste. I never learned anything there that was worth. Now the EMT I did, I learned basic medicine there. That was important. But really, truthfully, a lot of it's just a waste. College has nothing to do with learning. College has to do with money. Billions of dollars funnel into these colleges. Billions. These professors all make 6 figures. All of them. Okay? And they're all a bunch of liberals. They all indoctrinate their children. And they all have these 50, 75, 100-year-old curriculums that they're teaching from. And just like high school, just like what I've been talking about with high school, again, all this time being wasted and they're missing the mark. What we need to do is in high school, start identifying children that are excelling at mechanical things, at engineering things, in math, in science, and get them out of the regular schools and get them with other smart kids. They're afraid to do that because it's not fair to the minorities. It's not fair to the boys and the girls. It's not fair to the some parents want this. I don't give a shit about any of that, okay? All I'm saying is if we identify this child as being very, very, very good at math, then we should offer, not require. Every child can maintain their status in whatever school they're in, but we should offer that child, say, look, we've identified that you are very good at math. You are very good at this 1 or 2, 3 skills. We would like to put you here with other kids that are like you, and you guys are going to accelerate. We're going to bring you right up 2 grade levels. You guys are going to be cooking with gas, and even get them some college credit as they get towards the end of high school. That should be important. Then you get another kid over here. Man, he is good at science. He's really good at science. We should not leave him in a regular class with a bunch of kids that are not near as smart as he is. That always bugged me. Even when I was in school, I was in class with some really smart kids, and I was in class with some absolute morons. I mean, kids that couldn't tie their own shoe. And just like today, they feel that it's racist and wrong to allow children to accelerate and to allow you to earn your way into a better class and into a better learning or into a more relevant genre of learning. There's just so many things we could do, but they don't. They just keep everybody shoved in the same damn class. And if we apply that to college, the same thing again. When you go to a college degree, if you're going to be a nurse, 80 or 90% of what you're learning should be nursing skills, not 40%, and then 60% is extracurriculars, English, math, history, science, all this bullshit over here, all these core curriculums. No. That's what turns people off. You're making them pay for shit they don't need. What you need to do is provide people what they need for that skill that they're going for. Everything needs to be career focused, skill focused. It needs to be centered on the area where these children excel. And that's not done. They're all treated as mediocre equals. That smart kid will sit in that class and rot. We've got classrooms down here where a third of the class does not speak fluent English, and it's an elementary class. I have a family member right now that's in a class over in East Fort Myers, and think they're having real problems because the teacher's having problems because she can't stand and teach because a third of the class doesn't speak fluent English. Why are students that don't speak English in a class with students that do speak English? That's a fundamental mistake. You're going to create animosity, but worse than that, the kids that don't speak it are not going to speak it. And the kids that speak English are not going to get the education they're there to get. And the kids that speak Spanish aren't either. It doesn't help anybody. We need to educate all of them, no matter what language they speak. But we don't necessarily have to do it in the same room. I'm not saying segregate them. I'm saying the ones that speak one language go to this classroom, and the ones that speak this language go to this classroom. That's all I'm saying. What are we doing, putting all these kids in the same classroom? And again, we should separate children by their ability. We don't do that anymore because Johnny will feel bad if he don't get to go to the good classroom. F Johnny, you know what I'm saying? Because my kid, maybe, is the gifted one. And I want my kid to go to classes where he's going to be stimulated and he's going to learn on his level and he's going to be able to excel at his pace. But we don't have that in our schools, especially our public schools. And that's why this whole program to provide the money to the student and not the school is so important. We have school choice down here now. There's $9,000 that your child gets every year. Okay? Now, they don't hand the child the money. You never see the money. But if you want your child to go to public school, they go to public school just like normal. Nothing ever changes. Same paperwork, same everything. Nothing. No big deal. Go to public school. But if your child wants to go to private school, You can fill out a piece of paper online that $9,000 goes directly to the private school with no penalties. Well, that private school was only going to charge you $12,000 for the year, and you've got your child in a great private school for $3,000 a year. Some private schools are doing it just for the $9,000. In other words, you literally can put your child in a private school for the same price. Transportation, obviously, is an issue, but other than transportation, you can put your child in a private school for that $9,000 stipend that they get. And that's all it needs. I would pay the extra $2,000 or $3,000 and put them in a much nicer school. That's just me. You can get a really nice school for $12,000 or $13,000 a year. And if they're paying the $9,000, you can get your child in a better school. And that's what we're doing down here. Because public schools are failing. Even ours in this state, as conservative as we are, our schools are slap full of hardcore leftists. We just fired a whole bunch of them that all got on there and mocked Charlie Kirk in school after he died. Texas is another state that's getting school choice, yeah. It's your conservative states, it's your successful states, basically, that are getting it. Yeah, I got it going on tonight. The penguins at Catholic school, I love it. That's the penguin is a reference, at least from one place. It's a reference from the Blues Brothers. One of my, we got to go see the penguin. God, I love the Blues Brothers. That's such a great flick. Well, I try not to hate. I try. Anyway, but that's what that's since we went down this road, that's all I had to say. I've been on almost 2 hours. I'm going to go about 15 more minutes, guys, and I'm going to give it a last call here. Put anything in the chat room you want me to talk about real quick. But yeah, that's the bottom line. If we want to fix schooling, I think I've said that's the bottom line about 12 times tonight. But that's the bottom line. If you want to fix schooling, you need to put kids in classrooms with other kids that are at their level. You need to not even have a gifted and a regular program. You should have a triple gifted science program, a double gifted music program. You should have a double gifted this and a single gifted that, and then finally get down to, and then you've got your regular classroom for your regular kids, and then you've got your idiot classroom, and you've got your multi-language classroom. I don't want our children in classrooms with people that are much smarter than them, people that are stupider than them, and people that don't speak their language. And that's why we're having the problems we're having. And since the private schools aren't going to fix it, we'll fix it with school choice. I think other states are going to sign on. Georgia's looking at school choice. Tennessee's looked at it. I think you're going to find some other conservative states signing on to this principle. It really does work. It works because you decide where your child goes to school. And it gives you $9,000 worth of clout when you go to do it. And I just think that's so very important that you get to choose. I would not have a problem putting my child in a Christian school. Some of the best schools in the world are Christian schools. There's actually really good Jewish schools out there. There's, I'm sure, other good schools of other religious denominations too that I'm just not familiar with. And there's also non-denominational religious schools, and there's non-religious private schools. So there's so many options out there. There's also charter schools. We've got charter schools down here, which is like a public-private partnership. We are innovating down here in Florida. We are innovating, I'm telling you. And with all these big factories and stuff moving down here, we've got all these factories moving down here and all these people moving down here and just by the droves right now. And so it's a great time for Florida. Let me just put it that way. All right. So, any more questions on this? Is there anything? Is there anything else you guys would like to tell me, or we could talk about tonight? That would be great. Yeah, penguins. Yeah. That was in the Blues Brothers movie. I'm sure they've been called penguins before, but in the Blues Brothers movie, the woman that runs the school, they call her the Penguin. We got to go see the Penguin. That's a funny scene where they go up and see her, and the door opens by itself, and then when they walk in, the door closes by itself. I love that scene. And every time they swear, she beats them with a ruler, and it just ends up with her beating them at the end. It's pretty cool. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, hey, a lot of people went. A lot of people that were going to be scumbags went to Catholic school and got straightened out. Some it took and some it didn't, of course. But well, now the referee's over on the right screen. I don't know. I guess that finally looped. The shot there above my head right here, this one right there, that one right there, that's yesterday. I think everything else is live except the upper right, which is earlier today. I'm pretty sure. That's where we're at right now. Oh, really? You lived? Oh, you lived by Joliet? That was Joliet Prison. That prison's known all over the place. There's lots of stories come out of old Joliet. I've never been to Chicago, but I love blues, and I love the Blues Brothers, and I love that movie, and I love Chicago because of that movie. I know it's crazy. I've never even been there, and even in the movie, it's portrayed as like a dump, but I don't care. I love the culture. I just like, that's the only musical I've ever watched that I like. It's the only one. I mean, maybe The Wizard of Oz, but yeah, that's really it. I don't watch musicals. I hate musicals. As a matter of fact, I deplore musicals. One of the worst things Star Trek ever did was Subspace Rhapsody, which was a space musical. Disgusting. Disgusting pigs. They shouldn't have done that. Born in Joliet. There you go. Yep. I love that movie. And if you guys have not watched The Blues Brothers with Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, yes, go watch it. You'll be like, this is a really old movie, and then watch it anyway. Okay, the first blush is going to be, oh my God, he's in a car from like the 70s. Yeah, it's an old movie. It's an old movie, but it will keep you laughing the whole time you're watching it. It's just amazing. Funny ass movie. And you get to see a lot of Chicago 45 years ago. So there you go. Soul Man. I love that movie, dude. I love it. I love when they're walking around with a big speaker on the top. The Blues Brothers review there, Bob. Check it out there. Oh, I love it. Brubaker. I've heard of it. No, I have not. I'm going to put it on my show notes, though, and check it out. As you guys know, I always do show notes. And I haven't put anything in today, so there we go. That one's in there now. There we go. All right, and let's see what else we got going on. Let me check the news rundown real quick. Yeah, I think this is hilarious. You guys remember, remember AG James? She's the one that prosecuted Trump, and she she's not having a good day. New York Attorney General Latifah James faced an avalanche of criticism on social media Thursday following news that she was indicted for mortgage fraud, as many conservatives brought up past tweets of her taunting then presidential candidate Donald Trump for being indicted. If you remember, when he got indicted, she kept coming out and saying, "No one's above the law, not even you." Well, now they found that she did a bunch of fraud, right? Because that's the way the left is. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. And so she finds out the left did a bunch of fraud, or we find out that she did a bunch of fraud, and now Trump's trolling her the same way. No one's above the law. Oh, I love it. There was a party there that day, I can imagine. All right, so a high school football team, traveled 500 miles for a game. I guess after the game it didn't go well because the cops all pulled out their mace and sprayed the whole team. That sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? A high school football game ended in chaos after police... You like the news voice? Should I do the news voice all the time? A high school football game ended in chaos after police deployed pepper spray in an effort to defuse verbal and physical altercations. The Cardinal Ritter College Prep High School football team from St. Louis traveled nearly 500 miles to Massillon, Ohio, and it turned into a nightmare of a road trip. Cardinal Ritter fell to Masson High School 28-14 in what was said to be a chippy physical game all night. Tensions boiled over during the post-game handshake when multiple players had to be separated, prompting the use of pepper spray. Ohio police start pepper spraying high school students after the scuffle broke out following the post-game handshake line. Massillon police were seen running into the field as tensions began to heat up. Players on the Cardinal Ritter College prep team who lost the show, yada yada yada. Okay, staff members, coaches, and the Massillon police were all forced to intervene and separate players during the post-game handshake. Officers gave lawful orders on multiple occasions for the players to leave the field and head towards their locker room. The players would not go. The verbal commands were an attempt to de-escalate. They started grabbing face masks and surrounding players. So they started macing people. The Ritter players then again charged at the Massillon players, who were now near their band. It was an unfortunate and difficult situation for officers who, during the entirety of the incident, attempted to restore order. Ultimately, 2 Massillon police officers deployed pepper spray, which was effective. We have thoroughly reviewed the incident and found they operated within our policies. Oh, okay. I guess macing a bunch of school kids is okay now. When I was a cop, that was not okay. Cardinal Ritter officials told Fox 8 Cleveland that they have contacted the Ohio Schools Athletic Association to see what actions need to be taken. I understand you have to do something, right? But there was 10 or 15 cops there. I whatever. I mean, I guess they handled it okay, I guess. I would have tried to do it without the pepper spray. Cops are so quick now to tase and pepper spray, and it's become a little bit of a problem for some of them, where they're really doing it way too much now. And but I don't know that whole situation. And looking at the little video they had, it was a mess. They probably had no choice. And if that's the case, that's the case. And I'll say that could be the case. Let's see here. Oh, who is this? Iconic 169-year-old retailer shuttering 36 locations. Outdoor retailer joins Macy's and other companies forced to downsize operations due to the swiftly rising costs. The Orvis Company, one of the nation's oldest outdoor retailers, plans to close more than 24 stores. I've never heard of Orvis. But yeah, a lot of stores are doing this. Remember, we're still it takes 3, 5, 7 years to get out of inflation and to get back ahead again. And you can't expect things to happen right away. Biden had run this economy into the ground, okay? And for it to come back as far as it has, for him to nullify the rise of inflation is amazing in itself. Oh, hey, Maddie. Well, thanks for being here. I'm glad you found us too. I hope you enjoy it. We're doing good here. Just keep pumping away. Um, yeah, we lost another iconic rock singer. You guys know the band Moody Blues? I love Moody Blues. They've got some great songs. But anyway, John Lodge, one of their leads there, died yesterday at 82. Another singing icon we've lost. Let's see here. All right, I think that's about all I'm going over there. There's a lot of highly political stuff here. I really don't want to get into all that tonight. I need to sign off here. I've been on 2 hours. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. We have the international time clock here, and you can hear that on HF radio. Let me see if I can find that real quick before we sign off. If you guys are into time and into all that kind of stuff, one of the things you can check out is time beacons. Refer to 2 different types of signals: propagation beacons, which transmit on time sequences for propagation studies, and time signal beacons, which are sent out to get people clocks back on time. Here we go. Oh shit, I haven't looked at this stuff in so long. Oh boy. Can't believe I can't find what I'm looking for. Son of a bitch. Well, It's all right. I'll do it another night. How aggravating. Here it is. It's called Time Signal Broadcast Stations. And here, I'll bring it up. I'll just show you guys the website too to make it easier for all of us. Here we go. This is the Time Signal Broadcast Station. And you can see that these are the different stations. And what it does is it sends out a like basically a beacon. It goes out, you know, click, 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 and it says things and it does different things and it plays tones, but it allows you can actually build equipment and in programs that will use this to sync up your clocks and stuff. It's kind of older technology. Yeah, this tells you here, I think, here we go, broadcast frequencies. Station Whiskey Whiskey Victor operates in a high frequency portion of the radio spectrum. It radiates 10,000 watts on 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 15 megahertz, 25, and then 2.5, 20. So basically, if you go to one of these frequencies, you should be able to hear the time beacon. And, you know, not really set up to do this, but let me just for shits, let me see if I can hear any of them tonight. Yeah, let me see if I can find one of these here. All right, 10 megahertz. Puts it right there. My noise floor is very high here. That's why I don't do much ham radio stuff here. I don't hear it. Huh, I don't hear it. Let's see. See if they got any place here where you can listen to what it sounds like. Oh well. Maybe I will. I'll get more on this, and I'll do this one night because it's a fun thing. You can actually hear it. It goes like clunk, 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 and then it'll say, "This is the International Time Beacon" or whatever, and it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I just thought about something. I don't think it makes any difference, but there's just nothing there. But I don't have my long wire. That's hooked up to my 6 meter beam, which is not the best thing to use to pick that up. Um, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've got a thing in here called Maidenhead or something. It's I forget the name of it, but it actually will sync my computer up. Like every hour, it syncs it to the 100th of a second, and I have that. I'm normally not that anal about time. I have that for FT8. If you're doing FT8 on your computer, you almost have to have a program that will keep you synced, because even if your computer's just 1 or 2 seconds off, it won't work. Um, yeah, a lot of the home clocks there for a while were getting the time beacon off of the NOAA weather radio. There's a carrier on there in the background that you can't hear, but it gives the date and stuff like that. And so a lot of them get it from that. Um, all right, guys, that's 2 hours and 8 minutes. Is there anything else? Please put it in the chat room because I'm going to call it for tonight. I'm very tired. I'm now going to sign into the station and produce 2 shows. Should take me about an hour. And then I'm going to load those and I'm going to bed. This has been a long day. For those of you who didn't hear me earlier, I got up this morning at 3:45. It was about 3:30 actually, but I actually had the alarm set for 3:45. I get up, shower, go to work. I go in there, I show prep for about an hour. Then we produce a 3-hour show. Then I left about 9:30 and went straight up to where my mom's at in the facility. Stayed with her till about 1 o'clock. Got back in the car, stopped by Arby's and ate lunch. And then I drove back to work. And I did 2 hours of pre-show, did another 3-hour show. And I come home, I got 1 hour, and then this show started. And I've done 2 hours here. So I have now done 8 hours of live broadcasting in one day. I don't know if that sets any records. I doubt it. Jerry Lewis used to do 24. But anyway, I digress. It's been a long day, and I'm doing the same thing Monday and Tuesday. So I'm letting you guys know I will be here tomorrow and tomorrow night But I'm only going to go on tomorrow if there's breaking news. Like last weekend, I did 7 hours on Saturday. If there's breaking news, I may come on in the morning, the afternoon. If there's protests going on, I will be here tomorrow. Okay? If there's nothing going on, I'm going to skip tomorrow night's 9 p.m. show because I don't normally do them on Saturday night. Sunday night and Monday night, I'm doing 8:30 to 9:30. I'm going to do early shows, and they're only going to be 1 hour. And then we will go back to normal on Tuesday night. So I know it's a little screwy. And I know it's, broadcast schedules are supposed to be written in stone, but it's difficult when I'm meshing this with other broadcast schedules and things like that. So, but I try really hard to not ever miss. When I do, you guys know I've had it. I have to take the night off every now and then. But anyway, all right. I guess that's about it. Last call in the chat room. If there's anything else, real quick, throw it in there, and I'll respond to it real quick. Like I said, I will be monitoring tomorrow. If you guys see any breaking news or something I should cover, go to the Discord and put it under the breaking news only tab. Only use that tab when it's breaking news. That's supposed to alert my phone. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But now what I do is I keep that tab up and I keep a watch on it all day long. So if you guys see something you think I should cover, or maybe you consider it for coverage, go to the Discord, go to the tab that says breaking news only, and just paste the link in there to a news article or type what it is or whatever. Okay, I don't see anything else popping up, so I guess that's going to be it. All right, good numbers again tonight, guys. We're getting there every day, a little bit more, and I do want to thank all the folks out there that have subscribed to us and supported us over the last months and years. It's been a long road. It sounds like an intro for a Star Trek series. It's been a long road. Anyway, it's been a long road, but it's been a fun road, and I've enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy the commentary. I tell you guys this a lot, but it's true. I am working on a few other programs and fun things that we can do, and some things we can do in chat and stuff like that. I also want to do more polling and stuff like that. It's just once I get in here, it doesn't happen. I eventually am going to be looking for 3 to 5 people that want to work with me on this channel. You don't have to move here. You don't have to be in this room physically, but I do want to eventually have a few of you take a bigger role, and we'll get to that at some point. Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys already kind of have with Discord and in a chat room and letting people know we're here. So a lot of you guys have already done a lot of that. All right. Oh, well, there's Mayor Excuse again, or whatever she is. She was on there earlier saying that all this rioting's Donald Trump's fault. You go with that, lady. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna call it. All right, everybody. I hope that you guys have fun. I have a good weekend out there. For those, a lot of you are going to have the coldest week you've had in 6 months, and I know we've got a front coming tomorrow, and on Sunday and Monday our temperatures here are going to be downright pleasant. So that's really cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really looking forward to the cooler weather. Because all this heat and humidity is killing me. All right, guys, live from Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures, and this show is called The Sights and Sounds of Earth, broadcasting worldwide on YouTube. And we, by the way, when we come on, it's usually 6 nights a week, Sunday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I hope you guys, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back again. Watch for tomorrow. Make sure your notification bell's on, because I have a weird feeling about tomorrow. I have a funny feeling we're going to be back on tomorrow, doing some long-term coverage again tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that, and I'm also going to be getting scanners going for whatever cities. There is no Portland police scanner. So that's why I don't have one up. I could put up a Portland fire scanner, but that's all I have is fire and ham radio and rail. But I don't have anything police in Portland. So that's why I don't have a Portland scanner for us to listen to. All right, guys, that's it. Have a good one out there. We'll see you probably tomorrow at some point for breaking news. If not, Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Starship Adventures. Everybody have a great night and a wonderful weekend out there. Enjoy this weather. It's going to be amazing. No matter where you are in the eastern half of the country, you should be seeing some cooler or will be seeing some cooler weather this weekend. All right, everybody, have a good one, and we'll see you later. 7 3s.